being the coach, people hear your philosophy, your approach and everything.
Yeah.
And I know you had so many successes in your pro career, but also helping a lot of athletes. But if you were to pick maybe one of your favorite or top memories through the years, what would that be?
Oh my gosh.
And can be anything, either personally for yourself or some of the people that you've helped with. What is one that kind of sticks out to you?
Well,
I know there's a lot.
There's a lot. I want to say, probably coming back home, I would say, would be one of the top ones would be my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, Jared. He's one of my assistant coaches. He nicknamed the War Machine and whatnot, but he's one of the most talented athletes, that I've ever seen or worked with. This guy is a phenomenal beast. He's 38 now. He's still a freak, explosive. He works hard. He works hard at it and whatnot too. But I think with him, being that he's a career athlete, he's always been a really good athlete, and from my experience, most guys that were really good athletes didn't have to grind as hard because they're talented. And it's not their fault, because I see this through the different generations, even the younger athletes and whatnot, the guys that are just absolute studs physically, athletically I should say, they have an easier time with success. But what I noticed with them is they're not as mentally strong, and I would say, Jared's one of these guys who is really gifted. Love you, bro. But I think he didn't have the mental strength like my wife did as a fighter. Like, my wife is one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. Her mental strength, her grit. I want to say, gosh, I don't know too many other people I can really ever name that will rival my mental grit. And she's one of them. I always say, like, man, if you morph the two of them together, a perfect athlete, a perfect fighter. You know what I mean? But I think he would go through things when he first started competing where he's super talented and whatnot, but fighting's not easy. Fighting's not for everybody. You have to have a certain mentality and confidence and trust in yourself, because that's what it is. Fighting teaches you to trust yourself with your training. And I think for him, one of the biggest moments was definitely his last fight a number of years ago now, where he overcame so much adversity against this absolute banger, man. This guy knocked him down like 3 times in a fight. He was rocked. Rocked. Just one of the heaviest handed dudes, man, you could ever face, and super aggressive. And Jared came back and never gave up, and he stopped the guy. He's continued to trust the training and broke the guy down and stopped him, through his training. In the beginning of the fight, he had a hard time because of how fast the guy started and whatnot, and it took a little bit for him to kind of get in gear, wake up, and like, hey man, wake up, man, you're in a firefight kind of thing. But what he gained from there all these years later was tremendous. His mental growth, his maturity as an athlete, his maturity as a fighter, his maturity as a coach, and how much I feel like that night changed him to being a guy that is really able to help out some other guys now. That's one of the biggest moments, I think, for me, because that night was huge for him to go through the adversity and come out on top and get the win. But it's been years later now, and Jared's one of my coaches now under me. So having been his coach, as well as watching him help some of the other young guys now, that's been very rewarding for me. It's been very rewarding to see someone grow, like that mentally. So sometimes it's just, like, there's a pivotal moment, right, in your life, and there's like 1 or 2 things that just so happen that you had to experience, and then it has that lasting effect that kind of changes how everything is moving forward, right?